But, Mark, let's move on into the other side of this trade. We're going to be looking at the New England Patriots now. And if you are on YouTube, well, really, if you're on both Blog Talk Radio and YouTube, because really this is going to be the main title for the Blog Talk Radio, just to try to get people like Sean to get mad at us. Sorry, Shawnee Anderson, that you will be upset with this. But the New England Patriots, yes, they get Philip Dorsett from the Colts, which is a weapon that should have worked out for the Colts, never did. He'll become something great with Tom Brady, I'm sure of it. But the interesting thing that this trade means for me on the New England side is that all of last year we talked about, because I came out and I said, and Sean was a big antagonist of it, was when I said Jimmy Garoppolo's the future, and he's going to, sooner rather than later, take over the starting job for Tom Brady. Not mid-season, but there will be a season where the Patriots will say, hey, Tom, you should probably retire, or we're probably going to let you go. We're going with Jimmy now that you're now over 40. We're just going to go with Jimmy. He's going to give us the best chance to win.
Tom, now that you're over 50, if you don't mind retiring, that would be great.
But this trade to me, and last year when Brissett had his Houston game, a lot of people, and I believe Sean was one of them, was like, oh, well, they don't need to go with Jimmy Garoppolo. We got Jacoby Brissett. We're fine. That's 3 more years. Tommy can keep going. But this trade to me, they trade away Jacoby Brissett. They have Jimmy Garoppolo, contract year for Garoppolo. Tom Brady, this is kind of a season that could be final run-esque. Just hit 40. There's guys you always watch, like First Take, guys like Max Kellerman, who are big proponents of the cliff. Athletes and especially quarterbacks hit it. Once you hit 40, the cliff is coming, and you just don't know when that fall is going to happen. It happens to everyone. Like Max Kellerman has said on numerous First Takes, Mother Nature always finds a way for it to happen once you pass 40. I'm going to ask you this question, Mark.
Yep.
Will 2017 be Tom Brady's final season in New England?
Is that a Jurassic Park quote? Life finds a way. Jurassic Park. Is that a quote?
I have no idea.
I feel like it's a quote. Anyways, my thing with this, and I've said it before too. We agree on this one that I think that the end of Tom Brady's career is coming up because it has to.
Yeah.
At some point, he's 40 years old.
Last year would have been perfect. Walk out on top.
And I think that he's the kind of guy that he wants that. The unfortunate thing for Tom Brady, maybe I feel like there's a little bit of Brett Favre in him, in the sense of he's greedy. No one's going to deny the fact that Tom Brady's greedy, and he's good, so he gets away with it. There's no doubt about that either. I say he's greedy because he was a 6th-round pick who felt disrespected by that. He lucked into a chance to start due to injury, and he did not let go. Ever since he had that opportunity, he said, this is my job. I'm going to go out there. I'm going to be successful. He's on a great team. But he's the GOAT. But he's such a talented quarterback that he is constantly doing it, constantly impressing, winning games, winning awards, trophies, records, whatever it might be. Super Bowl rings, he goes out and he does it. MVPs, does it all. So he is a greedy guy because, and I don't say this in a negative way because I know people are going to say there's a negative connotation with greedy, but for athletes, I don't think that's necessarily always the worst thing in the world.
You want to get the most out of your time before it runs out.
And I think that's what it is for Tom Brady. He is greedy because, as many rings as he's going to get, it's just not enough. If I could just get one more, he could win this year and be like, that was amazing. But if I can just get one more Super Bowl ring, that would be even better. Ricky, you know what's better than 1 Super Bowl ring?
2.
You know what's better than 2?
3.
Do you know what's better than 3?
6.
Well, sure.
14 Super Bowl rings?
Right? Like, that's just how it goes. It doesn't matter. It's always going to be better when you get one more. And I think that's what Tom Brady is stuck in. And he can be stuck in it because he's such a talented quarterback. And this team is so good, and his coach is so good, and his GM is so great because the GM's the coach. So, everything is so perfect in New England that he gets the right to be greedy. and he gets the right to just keep playing until he can't physically do it anymore. The difference in this case is that Brett Favre was greedy, but Brett Favre ended up being dead on the field, essentially.
Should have went to another Super Bowl. Fuck you, Saints.
And then because he ended up dead on the field,
Yeah.
he got destroyed by a Greg Williams-led defense.
Screw you guys, cheaters.
So, here's the thing. I think that Tom Brady's days are numbered, but I still kind of feel like one or two things is happening. Either he might get kind of forced out the door and I just can't imagine that the Patriots would do this to him, but force him out the door because at some point we do have to move forward. And we just traded away Brissett. And if anybody thought, like Sean Anderson, that Brissett was going to be that guy because you don't need Jimmy Garoppolo anymore, it's too late. They already messed that up by trading him away instead of trading away Jimmy. By not trading Jimmy away and now getting rid of Brissett, I think they've shown their hand a little bit
That Jimmy is the successor.
Unless you're just going to let him walk, which is possible, but a dumb move.
See, and that's something that I think it was Uninterrupted that I saw today. I believe it was Shannon and Skip, but they had somebody on
Undisputed?
for their segment. Yeah, Undisputed. I say Uninterrupted.
Yeah, I'm trying in my head. I'm like, what show is Uninterrupted?
Undisputed. That one on FS1 that's basically First Take 2.0.
It's FS1's version of Pardon the Interruption.
Yeah. Well, no,
That's what Uninterrupted would be.
Yeah, Uninterrupted would be. But for Undisputed, they made, and I'll look it up in a second who was on it, but the guest that they had on made the point of the big thing that is kind of a wheel in this, or a cog in the wheel for this, is Jimmy Garoppolo. This is a contract year for him. If you're not going to pay him, are you going to franchise tag him? Because
it's a lot of money for a backup.
Because, well, unless you're getting rid of Tom Brady. If you're going to franchise tag Jimmy Garoppolo.
Well, and if you're getting rid of Tom Brady, you just sign Jimmy Garoppolo.
Well, and that's
he's not going to make as much as the franchise
and that's
tag.
why Skip brought up the point of, well, maybe he takes a discount. We've known Tom Brady to take discounts before so that the Pats could bring in other guys that would help them win a Super Bowl.
For sure.
Would that necessarily be the case? In this segment I just looked up, this was not one where they had someone. It was just Skip and Shannon going back and forth.
I can't imagine that Jimmy Garoppolo, in the situation he's in, would take the pay cut. Because he's not going to be making top dollar anyways.
No, I'm not saying, we're not saying Jimmy Garoppolo. They would franchise tag Jimmy to where he's getting what the tender would be based off of the salaries that have now gone up for quarterbacks.
Which is a lot of money.
Because of especially Matthew Stafford, who's now
ask Washington.
the highest paid. But you'd have him taking the franchise, but then Tom Brady asking him to take a pay cut so that they could franchise tag Jimmy Garoppolo.
Well, the thing, too, is we always give credit to Tom Brady for his contracts, but Tom Brady still gets money.
Yeah.
It's not like he's taking vet minimums.
It's just backloaded in bonuses.
Yeah, he's just getting bonuses instead of getting the guarantee, that's going to hit the cap as much. So they would still be paying up. There's no doubt in that, but that doesn't make sense to me. I can't imagine it. Bill Belichick is too smart of a man. He is a man who does not pay money when they don't deserve it. So that's why he constantly gets rid of players and ships them off once they start asking for money.
Let me put this in to consideration. Last year, Tom Brady's base salary, $764,000. His signing bonus, $13 million. This year, a base salary of $1 million, bonus, $13 million. So he's still getting that 14. It's just he's getting a lot more in the signing bonus.
Yeah. Which, like I said, is a smart way to do things. I don't necessarily know that Jimmy Garoppolo's is going to be the same way because Tom Brady's earned that in a way. He's earned it, and it's his team, so he's going to do things like that. I feel like a guy like Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be give me the big number, give me my guaranteed money.
Especially because there will be teams out there that need a quarterback.
Yeah, and it's not like Jimmy Garoppolo's going out there winning 15, 16, 17, 18 million dollars a year. He's going to get a smaller end of a deal. I really kind of see in Jimmy is I think he's going to be the I'll take the bet on myself kind of guy. He'll be the guy that will take the smaller deal for 1 or 2 years and then prove it and then go it. If he doesn't get some team to just for some reason buy in huge. Give him a Matt Flynn-like deal.
Just for a point of reference, for this year, the NFL announced their franchise tags in the beginning of March. A quarterback that receives the 1-year franchise tag, which is fully guaranteed, $21.268 million.
Yeah.
That's how much you're paying them for 1 year.
It's a lot of money to pay a guy who's played, 7 games, 6 games. And in that series, only 2 of them, did he pass the ball more than twice?
That's why I think of this. And also the thing that I want to mention, taking this with a grain of salt, is think of this as this discussion 2.0 for Mark and I because of the Jacoby Brissett trade. That's why we brought this up. But 5 months ago, March 15th, was the last time we talked about the same exact thing. Like it says, will 2017 be Tom Brady's last season? We just changed the wording a little bit. And this is a topic that has been a staple for us. March it was, will it be his last season? We also had talked about 11 months, almost a year ago, can Jimmy Garoppolo steal Tom Brady's starting job? We also talked about 2 years ago, is Tom Brady done in New England when they drafted Jimmy Garoppolo? We have talked about this ad nauseum, and this is just the latest chapter in this. But here is what I am kind of thinking about it. I think that no matter what happens this year, I am leaning more towards this could be or this will be Tom Brady's last season in New England. The main reason why is, yes, there will be Tom Brady supporters, and Sean Anderson will be one of them that will say, why get rid of Tom Brady? He's the GOAT. He's the absolute just, top of the game. Why get rid of him? Because if I am Bill Belichick, if I am Robert Kraft, I am anyone on the front office of this team, the thing I am thinking about is how do we keep this success handed off from one quarterback to another? And if you think Jimmy Garoppolo could be a guy to do that, it's hard to draft a quarterback in this league. There are many teams, I don't want to seem this is like the rag on Cleveland podcast because you ragged on them a little bit in the first segment. I'm going to rag on them now.
I didn't necessarily rag on them.
You were making fun of their fans because you said their O-line wasn't that good, but still.
They got their boy, so they're okay.
My point is, just ask Cleveland how it is to keep drafting quarterbacks. Deshaun Kaiser is the newest in that chapter for the Cleveland Browns. It is near impossible to hit on a quarterback that is going to be not even as good as Tom Brady, but to even be as good as I'd say even like an Andrew Luck, a guy that we talked about in the last segment. So if you feel like you have that in Garoppolo and you don't want him to walk and you have to franchise tag him, this is something where maybe Brady's pushed out. You brought up Brett Favre. That is a prime example of a guy who didn't want to leave. The team said, no, you're gone. We're going with this guy. And they pushed him out. How many other times in sports, though, have we seen athletes in one way or another, either like Brett Favre's where it was like, I'm not leaving and being pushed out, or even in basketball? I hate to say it because I forget that these years even existed, but Michael Jordan did what everyone wants to do. Win a championship, win your 6th championship, walk out on top. What does he do years later? Comes back and plays for the Washington Wizards, only because the Bulls wouldn't take him back. That's the only reason why he did that. We have seen this in sports where guys still think, I've got it. And of course, Tom Brady, like you said, the little greed factor of I want to play as long as I can, which I can't fault Tom Brady for that. I would want to too, especially if I was at the end looking at the other side of 40, which in football as a quarterback is kind of unknown territory in modern day. I kind of feel like all the signs, though, are looking towards, if not this season, when? Because either you're getting at the end of the season, either Tom Brady's walking out that door and you're kind of saying goodbye, Tom, or Jimmy Garoppolo's walking out that door. And if Jimmy Garoppolo walks out that door then
You're starting over.
you're
in a backup
starting over when
situation.
Tom Brady's done.
Yeah, you're starting over from the future.
Yeah.
And maybe that's not the worst thing because maybe Tom Brady's going to play till 2022 when he'll become the oldest quarterback ever to play. But it's just the kind of thing where we said it when this season started. Well, I guess when we started talking about this season, I should say that the Patriots kind of look like they're going all in.
Yeah.
For one final round. I mean, everything they were getting, all the additions.
Julian Edelman
they were making
goes
so
down.
many amazing splashes, and then they
and
get
they grab
Dorsett,
Dorsett.
Dorsett's a little bit of an underperformer in Indianapolis. But
Tom Brady will make him the number one weapon.
They're going to get it out of him. And Hogan, who really lit it up at the end of the season, and of course in the playoffs. They're getting everything put together. If Gronkowski's healthy too, that certainly helps. It's like everything is here. If this was a movie, this would be the dream team that get put together because they got one.
All right, Vince.
Yeah, right? They got one last ride. I mean, this very much reminds me of Peyton Manning going to Denver and people were lining up at the door to play with Peyton Manning for this one last ride. Then the one last ride happened 3 years later. But whatever. It's just that's what it screams to me. It's everyone's lining up. The opportunity to play with Tom Brady for one last one. And I don't know if they know something I don't know, but it feels to me that, and Kraft has said it himself, that he knows when Belichick is done. And I don't think he said anything about knowing when Tom was done. But I feel like if he knows when Belichick's done, he probably has a pretty good idea of when Tom Brady will be done as well.
Well, and the thing that I also look at is there are examples in this league. I'm thinking three right now, two on the good side, one on the bad side of we've seen this happen already in football. You mentioned one of them, the Green Bay Packers. They eventually said, hey, Brett, you're done. Goodbye. They handed the reins to Aaron Rodgers, and the Packers seemingly overall have not skipped a beat. Another example on that side, the Dallas Cowboys. Tony Romo, of course, his was an injury, but how many times during the year did we talk about should Tony Romo have the job back when he's healthy? The Cowboys, and I know last season played a lot into it, they walk away from Tony Romo. They are sitting in a better spot, or their fans still think, hey, we can go to the playoffs.
Yeah,
it's
people
not
like Dak.
It's not like, shit, we're starting over from square one. But then you look at the Broncos. You get Peyton Manning, you win a Super Bowl, but when he leaves, look at where the Broncos have been because they didn't have a plan, because they thought Brock Osweiler was the plan. Elway didn't want to overpay for him, rightfully so, because he went to Houston and didn't do anything. Now he's back with Denver, but even with Trevor Siemian, that is a team to where they are on, to me, the other side of it. Their guy walked, they didn't have a plan, and they got screwed.
And they kind of proved that sometimes drafting quarterback doesn't work out because Paxton Lynch still isn't doing anything out there. If anything, he looks worse than he did last year.
And early on in his last college season, I was so high. I was still high when we got to the draft on Paxton Lynch.
You sure were. Swing and a miss. But at least you're in good company with John Elway. One of my favorite quarterbacks. Actually, probably my favorite quarterback. But anyways, so, I mean, those are definitely good examples to look at. I just want to say I'm looking forward to the debates in future years about just if Tony Romo had Ezekiel Elliott. They would have won that Super Bowl. They would have won it. But yeah, to this, Tom Brady's gotten to the point where he earns that Tom Brady's done when Tom Brady's done. I feel like that's what it is for New England. I'm very excited to see it, but I feel like at this point I expect it all the time.
Another example on the good side, team we just talked about in the first segment. They push Peyton Manning out. Andrew Luck, especially early on, they were in playoff
I don't know.
games.
You think they're going to cut him in a couple of years?
I'm just saying, the handoff was nothing like, man, we went from playoff team to 0-16.
Yeah,
kind of a
they
season.
did go from a really shitty team when he was injured.
Yeah,
to be fair.
You got to have the suck for Luck.
Yeah, otherwise
how do you get Andrew Luck?
They wouldn't have had him otherwise. But if if Jimmy's gone, you start all over. But if you got Belichick, it looks like anybody can kind of pull it off because you had 2 backup quarterbacks that looked great. I don't know. I'm very interested to see what happens with this if Tom Brady really is done. But I feel like it just seemed like he would be done so often now, and he hasn't dropped off in the slightest yet. That if Tom Brady wants to tell me he's playing till he's 60, I'm gonna say, why not 64? Why not 65? What if he was the first and only player to ever play while collecting Social Security?
I know you want to see that because you're a guy that wants to see those
It would
first.
just be fun.
But another thing I want to throw out there, and I believe on Uninterrupted, Greg Jennings was talking
Good show,
about
Uninterrupted.
Undisputed. I keep calling it Uninterrupted, but Undisputed. I believe he was talking about the 2007 NFC Conference Championship when he said it, but he said that in that game he believed that Brett Favre gave up on the team, which is funny because that next year Aaron Rodgers took over. Yes, in Aaron Rodgers' first season, they went 6-10, but ever since, 5 losses, 6, 1, 5, 1, 8, 7, and 1, but then 4, 6, and 6.
I remember in those early Aaron Rodgers days being like, they just got rid of Brett Favre. I'm a Bears fan, everybody, in case you didn't know. They just got rid of Brett Favre. I feel like this Aaron Rodgers kid's going to be pretty good, and that kind of makes me mad. It's unfortunate. Tom Brady's definitely not in a situation where he's giving up on his team. That's for sure. If anyone's giving up on anybody, it's going to be the team giving up on him. But Tom Brady shows that, yes, even though he's greedy and just wants to win one more ring all the time, which I don't blame him for, he also shows that he puts the team, he really cares about the team and the New England organization. And I do think that if he starts playing badly, he will pull Tony Romo to say, hey, I do have to step back. I have to let the future come in, the new generation.
My point with this, and I'm using the Packers as the carbon copy for this. My point with it, though, the Packers could have easily, after a 13-3 season, NFC Championship game where they lost to the Giants, who, think about that. If Brett Favre wins that game, we never have the catch, and we have a rematch of I think Brett Favre's last Super Bowl win where, they beat the Patriots in 96. We get a rematch of that game. We never get the David Tyree catch because the Giants never play the Patriots. But the Packers...
And maybe Tom Brady would have a few more rings.
The Packers could have easily said, you know what, 13-3 NFC Championship game, Brett, you still have the job. They could have easily done that. But no, they decided to say, no, we're going to go with the young kid who's been sitting on the bench. Aaron Rodgers sat there for 3 years before he got the full-time start in 2008, which wasn't a great season, but it was basically his rookie campaign.
Yeah.
As
if only
a
there
starter.
were more Packers seasons like that.
There were two since Aaron Rodgers took over where they had under 8 or below wins. But that's all I'm saying with this is with Tom Brady, like, don't be afraid. Like, if you're the Patriots, don't be afraid to push that button if you think it's going to turn out right. Because I have a feeling that although I said my piece and I think that Tom Brady should be done after this year, Jimmy Garoppolo should be the guy moving forward, I kind of have this weird gut feeling that when we get to the offseason, Tom Brady will still be in New England and Jimmy Garoppolo will be somewhere else.
Yeah.
And the Patriots fans will be saying after Tom Brady leaves, Garoppolo will be doing good things, maybe in the playoffs, maybe Super Bowl, and Patriot fans will be sitting there going, remember we could have hung on to him. We could have hung on to him, but we didn't. And I don't want that to happen to Patriot
And
fans.
the unfortunate, just like all decisions that come with sports, is that if you replace him with Tom Brady and he's not even close to Tom Brady, that's the end of a legacy right there for Kraft, for Belichick, for everybody. If you keep Tom Brady and he just underperforms now and just he falls off the cliff next year and Jimmy Garoppolo ends up in Buffalo or ends up in Miami. I'm picking division opponents, obviously. But he could end up wherever, San Francisco. And all of a sudden he's out there winning Super Bowls. Once again, that's a legacy killer. If you didn't get a guy who's going to replace and be that same level. But at the same time, Bill Belichick's legacy is cemented. Kraft is cemented. Tom Brady is cemented. It doesn't necessarily matter too much at this point. Nothing's going to change that for any of these guys. I agree with you, though. As much as I want to say everything points to Tom Brady being done, it seems like anytime you say Tom Brady's done, he adds 5 more years.
Yeah, that just seems to be the thing when it comes to Tom Brady. But I want to turn it on to you guys. What do you guys think? Is this going to be Tom Brady's last season? If not, how many more seasons do you think he has? And also another prediction of how many more months do you think it'll be until we ask this question again? Because we're probably gonna ask it again.
It comes up
this season. It's going to be a topic until Tom Brady ends up to say, "Hey, you know what? I'm gonna retire," or the Patriots decide to let him go. So this is where you guys come in. Let us know what you guys think down below in the comment section.